The RV burnout is real. And in our house, we've just hit a wall. So what can you do? Welcome to RV Out West. I'm Brooks. Based in the Pacific Northwest, my family of four hits the road to explore the best of RV life out west. From hidden gems and epic destinations to helpful tips and real road stories. So grab your coffee and join the journey. Hey friends, just a quick reminder to please vote for RV Out West as the best podcast in the Campy Awards. You can find the voting link right there in the description of this episode in your podcast app or by visiting the link on my Instagram page. It only takes a minute and your vote will mean the world to me. So please vote today and help us keep the adventure going. Now, picture this. It's Friday at 4:58 p.m. You're staring at the clock, waiting for that final minute of your work week to tick down. The RV's almost packed. You're doing a grocery click list pickup on your way to the campground. The kids are hyped, and your brain is already on the road. But as you pull out of the driveway, a familiar tension creeps in. Will you even have enough time to relax before Sunday hits and it all starts again? By Thursday night, the excitement of the RV weekend feels more like a weight than a reward. The week's already been a nonstop shuffle. Early mornings, homework meltdowns, cheerleading practice, a dinner somehow made it on the table, but it's at like 8:45, and the house is barely holding it together. Every spare second is swallowed by a mental checklist. Groceries for the trip, laundry to do and to pack. You need to empty the fridge. Maybe you need to fill your propane tanks. You're grabbing your linens, your blankets, your pillows into bins, all while trying to remember if you RSVP'd to that class birthday party and whether your dog shots are even up to date. The idea of getting away starts to feel like a logistical mountain, not a break. Come Friday afternoon, you're exhausted before the RV even pulls away from the curb. The kids are bouncing with energy. They're hyped for the adventure, but you're running on fumes, praying you didn't forget the charging cables or someone's pillow. And God forbid you forget a pillow. The drive itself feels like a transition zone between the burnout and pretending you're not burned out. And though you love the outdoors, the campfires, and the memories, you're really starting to wonder if the cost is just too high. Because by Sunday night, it's not the rest you were coming home with. It's another pile of laundry, a fridge to restock, and a Monday waiting just around the corner. Sound familiar? Yeah, us too. And we are definitely in this rut right now. So today, we're going to dive into something a lot of RVers don't talk enough about: RV burnout. Especially for weekenders, we're juggling full-time jobs, family life, and that dream of freedom on the road. Because as much as we love the lifestyle, sometimes it feels like we're racing towards rest, and somehow we're never quite getting there. So first and foremost, let's really define and look at what burnout is. Burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion that builds over time when stress outweighs your ability to cope. It often shows up as chronic fatigue, irritability, lack of motivation, brain fog, and a growing sense of detachment and numbness. Some might even notice themselves withdrawing from things they used to enjoy while snapping at loved ones or feeling like you're just going through the motions. Even your rest won't feel completely restorative, like your internal battery just never really charges past 10%. It's not laziness or weakness, it's your system waving a red flag. Burnout happens when you're carrying too much for too long without relief. Whether it's from work overload, emotional labor at home, or the pressure of trying to hold everything together. Often, we push through it silently until it starts affecting the people around us. If your spouse is getting fed up, it's usually not about one moment, but the accumulation, the distance, irritability, and lack of presence they're feeling. Relationships can suffer when one partner feels like they're doing a life without you, while the other feels like they're doing life for you. Take, for example, this summer. We've only had 2 long 3-day weekend trips that were booked. Honestly, I'm not sure what happened. It wasn't like I didn't want to do more, but it just kind of happened. I think the pre trip packing as of late has been a lot on both my wife and I. It's always feel like a hurry up and hustle to get out of that house on Friday. Then go set up the trailer after work on Friday, after arriving at the campsite at like 7 or 8 in the evening. It's just been taking a toll on us. This by no means is the end. We love to RV. We love traveling on the open road. We do enjoy our getaway weekends in the tranquility of our own space that our trailer provides. The time spent together as a family and with good friends outside is still very important to us. I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe we need to do something different to try and make it easier, simpler to just go. It always starts with a vision. Perfect sunsets over the lake, cozy fireside dinners, and a game of washers, and the promise of a reconnection far from the weekday grind. But by Friday at noon, the dream already felt like it was slipping. While one partner scrambles to finish work calls and coordinate the kids' last minute needs, the other, the self appointed captain of the RV life, is elbows deep in logistics, topping off the propane, loading food into the fridge, checking the tire pressure. The reality of a weekend trip was always a compressed blur of movement, a race against time disguised as a getaway. I've often wondered if everyone else is living the RV dream with less stress. Then I also consider, who was this trip really for? It's a tough realization, but it doesn't have to mean the end of an adventure. So, what can you do to reignite that spark? First, slow down. Revisit what you originally loved about RV life. Was it nature, the campfires, family time, or exploring local scenes? Try weaving more of those elements back into your RV routine. Mix things up with a few non RV getaways, like renting a cabin, house sitting, or even taking a short trip by an airplane. Well, I've been thinking about taking a trip via Amtrak. I've heard that one thing that has made the biggest difference for those who have suffered from this as well was treating the RV like a second home instead of something they had to pack up from scratch every time. Keeping a separate set of toiletries, kitchen basics, towels, and even clothes in the RV, so you're not constantly moving stuff back and forth. It can cut down on packing time, and it's one less thing to stress about every weekend. For us personally, that is a bit of a logistical problem, as we don't store our travel trailer at our house, and storage is a 20-minute drive away. So we need to find a different solution. But I wanted to mention that because that may work for many of you who have the ability to keep your RV on your property. Another thing that has helped me was spreading the prep throughout the week instead of saving it all for Friday. I keep those collapsible crates along a wall near the front door. So during the week leading up to a trip, I can add items that I know we'll need. I do find this part of the process helps me not only stay focused, but not to be as stressed. Midweek on Tuesday, typically the missus and me will do a quick meal plan and grocery list. And then on Wednesday, I'm placing a click list order so that once I'm hooked up, it's just an easy swing through the grocery store parking lot and loading all the groceries directly into the trailer. So I don't have to move them from grocery store to truck and then truck into the trailer. It's also a huge time saver for sure, and it definitely has helped me stay on budget because I'm not being distracted by other items in the grocery store. Yet by the time Friday rolls around, we sometimes still have the feeling of scrambling to get out of the house. It almost feels unavoidable. It sounds small, but having a shared checklist on our phones has saved us from forgetting things like phone chargers or dog food more times than I can count. Now, to be honest, I think I'm more of a fan of a checklist than my wife is. Not that she doesn't use them, but that hit of dopamine as I'm crossing something off my list is one of life's simple pleasures. And honestly, don't put so much pressure on yourself to make every weekend trip epic. Sometimes a close to home campground or even just a night or two away is all you need to recharge. We've got a couple of our favorite campgrounds that are all less than 30 minutes from our home. One is super close to a Walmart and a Home Depot, so if I have any projects on the trailer that need my attention or we forget something, it's a super quick trip to go get those items. Yet, this place also makes us feel like we are miles from home. It's forested with peekaboo views of the Salish Sea, and the salt water and smell of fresh pine lingers in the air, which does a good job of refueling me. One thing that I think we both fail at is giving up a bit of control. And we have two totally capable middle school kids who can easily chip in and help to do their part. I think we could really work to be better at involving the whole family in planning and prep, so it's not all on my wife and I. Plus, then, everyone will get a say and a task, which makes it feel more like a team effort. I realize that I will need to give them clear, specific responsibilities instead of just asking for help in general. My kids, at least, are not so great with the general ask of help. They seem to need guidance and direction, so perhaps I'll start with assigning them their own tasks. One packs up the outdoor chairs and a mat. The other handles unloading the fridge or checking things off our departure checklist. They also have done their own clothes packing and toiletries in the past. I've given them a list, although they have almost always seemed to have forgotten something that was on that list, which then ultimately becomes my problem. So we've also had to spot check what they are planning to bring. When we get home, they each have a couple of quick jobs to help reset the RV so it's ready for next time. They are usually pretty good about this part of the trip, but it's more in the pre-trip planning that I think we could use some extra hands-on. I try to make it feel like it's part of the adventure and not just a chore. Sometimes that means stopping for Arby's at one of our truck stops that we often pass on our way home. Hopefully, if we can start to make it more routine, they'll actually start to take pride in it. I realize in all of this that the goal here is to simplify where you can and be okay with imperfection. It's not about cramming in more adventure, it's about making it sustainable and fun again. Lastly, I keep going back to the question of why we started RVing in the first place. And it wasn't for the hustle of packing up or checking off campground reservations, but for those quiet moments that somehow reset everything, like sipping coffee in the quietude of the morning, hearing nothing but birds and the breeze, or the way dinner tastes better when it's cooked outside, with the kids all laughing around the fire. Somehow along the way, I let the logistics take over and forget how simple and joyful RV life can be. It's not about how far we go or how packed the weekend is. It's about creating space to breathe, connect, and feel alive again, even if it's just for 2 days. Being a weekender doesn't have to mean chaos every Friday and exhaustion every Sunday. I'm working to remind myself that it gets easier when I simplify things. Keeping the RV stocked, spreading prep out during the week, and letting go of the need to make every trip feel like a grand adventure. Sometimes the best weekends are the ones closest to home, where we do less, slow down more, and actually enjoy the time together. I've stopped trying to worry about making it all perfect, because honestly, the magic shows up in unplanned moments. These weekend escapes are not as something extra to squeeze into our already busy lives, but as something essential. Even just 2 nights away can shift my whole mindset and bring me back to what matters most. RV life, even in small doses, has a way of grounding me, reminding me that joy doesn't have to be earned through effort or planning. It's already there, waiting by the fire pit, tucked into a sunrise, or in the laughter of a lazy morning on the road. Burnout doesn't have to end the journey. It might just be pointing you towards a better, more sustainable version of it. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to remind you to please take a moment to vote for RV Out West as the best podcast in the Campy Awards. You can find the link in the episode description right there in your podcast app or over on my Instagram profile in the bio. Every single vote helps, and I'd really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for being a part of this community. Now go cast your vote. Thank you again for listening to RV Out West. If you got value from this episode, please share it with one person you know. I'm looking for your help in growing the show. Also, give us a follow on Instagram and Facebook where you can join in on the conversation. I sure would appreciate it. Next week, we're heading to the misty shores of Washington's coastline for a weekend in Ocean Shores, a place where driftwood lines the beach, wild waves crash just beyond the dunes, and the salty breeze makes you forget the rest of the world exists. I'll share the best spots to park your rig, fun places to check out, activities you can do while you're there, plus a few cozy surprises that just might surprise you. Thanks for listening to RV Out West. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed the show, tell a friend and please leave a rating or a review. It would mean a lot. Special thanks to Scott Home Music for our intro song, We Are One. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook to join in on the conversation. Now, get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon.